Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are going to get into Experiencers Disclosure. Two of our favorite guests, Preston, Dennett, and Dolly Safran, are here to go along with this, and it's going to be a great show indeed. But first, we have to say hello to each and every one of you, including Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position, Race Fan with a silver, T-Bone taking home the bronze medal tonight. Mel WD-40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show, because you can't talk aliens and experiences without being lubed up. So Mel is lubing us up as we speak. Mel, don't forget to give yourself a little shot as well, okay? Just to make sure. All right, Race Fan, how you doing? Art School Damage, welcome to SOR Chat. JSCO, thanks for coming on in as we kick off roll call here. Trucker Andrew, how you doing? Be Done With It is here. Be Done With It is going to be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. I believe this is Be Done With It's first time signing autographs. So go gentle. Don't get too aggressive. He'll sign everything. I promise. Promise. All right. Robert Lamoth, how you doing? Nice to see you as we scroll on down on our roll call. Thunderhead, how are you tonight? As we continue on in. Gear Jammers and Frankie B and Charlene Skywalker. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Luscious Jules, nice to see you. Mark Wolf, good to have you here as we continue on with our roll call here. And who is next on our list? It's Honest Content and Walter Kochabinski. Thank you guys for coming on in. Little Cam on YouTube, so excited for Preston and Dolly tonight that he literally bench pressed, literally, like you're going to shock. Two UFOs, 57 times. He went 5 or 7 more than he wanted to. Good job, Little Cam. Good job. Skip to my Lou, good morning to you over in Denmark. Thank you for joining us. And who is next? Let's see here. Still scrolling. I'm still scrolling. Flubber Lane, nice to see you. Necessary Dialogue. Thanks for coming on in. Hi there, Matthew Gutka. Carol Amario, nice to have you here as we scroll on down on our roll call. And who is next? Because there's lots of good convo going on in here. Good job, guys. Thank you for that. Thomas Rock, nice to see you. And Manda, what is that? Mandanimal? There it is. Mandanimal. Welcome to SOR Chat. Kurt M, nice to see you. And Mama Catherine, there she is. Now I can get happy. Mwah! Glad you're here, Mama Catherine. This is going to be a great show. I love you. And sit back, relax, and I'll make sure it's good for you. Promise. Goblin is here. The Goblin will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. It's Goblin's first time signing, so be gentle there as well. We got 2 rookies signing autographs after the show. So just take your time. Don't get too persistent. They will get to your signatures. I promise. I promise you. All right, moving on down. We say hello to LJ. Welcome to SOR Chat. And Road Flare, nice to see you. And we kick it on down. Jeremy and Dolly, welcome. and Mima Flowers, and number 22 in your program tonight, starting at left wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Preston Dennett and Dolly Safran are going to be talking about experiencers disclosure. How does it differ from UFO or UAP disclosure? We're going to get into that here in just a little bit of time. But first, we are on roll call on our YouTube side. Pam Harris, nice to see you. Louise, thanks for coming on in. And who else do we have? Jerence Carter, everybody. Jerence Carter. Paramarv, nice to see you. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. And Chucky Danger, welcome to SOR chat. Dunzel, nice to see you. We are running out of time here, guys. Running out of time. But that's a good thing. That means a lot of you are here tonight. Integrationing, nice to have you here. And T-Bone, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. Do me a favor, everybody. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin knows. We're together, friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our spike as well. Follow us on X, Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, and Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. You got about a month and a half to get your tickets for Caribou Con, September 18th through 20th, right here in the heart of British Columbia. Get them now at cariboucon.com. What is it like to be an experiencer, and how do you perceive UFO disclosure? We're going to get into it with authors and researchers, Dolly Safran and Preston Dennett, coming up momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us for another creepy story. After that, Terry Hall will be here with the weird news of the week. So here's a big question for you. We talk a lot about disclosure here from the governmental side. Is it disclosure? Is it confirmation, which I believe it is? Who are the players? I mean, now all of a sudden, Robert Bigelow is stepping back into the fray, starting his own podcast and telling people how he's briefed the president on alien contact. How big was that? How big was that? Well, what if there's another side to disclosure? What if it's from the people who've actually experienced things that most humans have not? ET contact, alien abduction, downloads, predictions, and many more. Two of the people that we have coming on tonight are a power couple in this field. Preston Dennett, author extraordinaire, the researchers of all researchers. I'm going to say that. He probably will. He's so humble. He will probably just say, Dave, shut up. Just shut up about that. But no, Preston is literally at the top of the game when it comes to this. And his better half, Dolly Safran, who's an experiencer, who's a researcher, who's an author, extremely intuitive. Let's bring him on in. Let's figure this out. How does disclosure differ? Preston Dennett, Dolly Safran, I love it when you were on this show. Probably not on here enough, but we're glad you're here again. Thank you for coming on in, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah,
Love
it's
you.
a pleasure.
Pleasure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Preston, I saw you put your head down when I started complimenting you. I hate to tell you, man, but on this show, you will always get compliments, and get used to it, buddy.
All right, I'll try. I guess it could be worse. So thank you.
Let's talk about the disclosure movement, because the big news in the UFO world right now is former owner of Skinwalker Ranch, former Bass director, Bigelow Advanced Aerospace Space Systems, Robert Bigelow, hotel magnate, billionaire, probably spent more money than anybody else outside of Brandon Fugel privately on this subject. He comes out and basically says the aliens are here. Don't need to go very far. Don't need to go into space. They're already here. He's briefed the president. This is a whole new turn, Preston, in the disclosure movement, to have a man who has been silent on this subject since a 2018 interview with 60 Minutes. And now here he is podcasting, becoming one of us, talk about what he knows. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a step forward, I guess. I mean, we also have Dr. Phil suddenly talking about this. The famous astronomer, what is his name? Changing his tune a little bit.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yep. So we're seeing a lot. We're seeing a little bit of a sea change here, which is cool. You know, I appreciate it. It's a little bit late to the party, but that's all right. If you made it to the party, let's have fun. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's good news in that this subject is getting a lot more attention. But where have you been all this time? You know, what's going on? There was enough evidence long ago to prove that this was real. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
You're blasé about it. Can we say that? You're blasé.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little frustrated.
Well,
because it took me about, yeah, I mean, it literally took me a couple of months at most, coming into this field as a complete skeptic, to realize it was real, that there was a cover-up, that this was a very serious subject that deserved a lot of attention, that a lot of people were having these kinds of experiences. And here are these people who must have known about it for years and years and years. And now they're just coming around. It's like, where were you? You know, we could have used your help decades ago. So I don't mean to be bitter about it, and I'm not. It's just a little frustrating.
I'm going to tell you, I understand. I understand your frustration, because I kind of feel it too. That you get these famous names all of a sudden coming into the field, like Dr. Phil, or now Robert Bigelow. I think Bigelow is a little bit different than Dr. Phil. But when we get these names coming in who have had nothing to do with the UFO world, the problem that we have is instantly their followers, which are in the multi-millions, tend to believe they're experts. And then they interview the exact same people who've been interviewed since 2017, and we're rehashing the same stories that are 9 years old to the UFO community. And I just think that, you know, if people were really paying attention, they would look at people like you. They would look at people like Grant Cameron or Richard Dolan or many, many others, even going into the older generations that have now passed on, whether it's Stanton Friedman or Jim Mars or many others who have gone before and looked into this with an open view rather than the 2017 view that we see everything on. Dolly, what's your opinion on that?
Oh, slightly complicated.
Here we go.
There are many levels to this, just saying. And I think when you start seeing very rich billionaire oligarchs showing up into the gene pool of this, and I'm going to call it that, and everybody else with disclosure, I know that everybody realizes without the president having to say ETs are here and they're real and la la la, everybody's already pretty much figured it out. I think it's all over but the gnashing of teeth, and they're still doing that a little bit. But there is a narrative, and it does run through for years now. It's been running through, and the narrative is starting to push itself into the spotlight in a way that wants you to see only what it wants you to see. In other words, I see a psyop happening with this. And I also see people who want the limelight. I see people who want to be noted. And for whatever reason, human ego is huge in this world that we live in. But I don't think any of it is going to tell you the truth. I think that you're going to be told a lot of things that are little teeny bits of information and then lots of science fiction added to it. And it's still, they're writing the narrative the same way from the very beginning until now. And that is that you should be afraid. This is a national security incident. This is big. And everybody's going, woo, and they're not really looking at the real evidence. And the government is still holding it back. That's what I see. I see lots of smoke and mirrors, lots of people talking, lots of people adding clout, and no truth being told. Not real truth. That's what I see.
Here's one thing that I did notice from Bigelow's statement was he said that, the majority of the aliens that are here, they fear us more than we should fear them, because we are, as he called us, the Klingons of the universe, because we want to destroy everything.
Yeah, that's part of a false flag tactic. They want you to believe that you're going to be able to shoot down ETs, and that
Absolutely.
we're wrong. And nobody's telling the truth, because the truth is basically you're talking to a real experiencer here, lifetime experiencer. Their technology is so advanced. The people who are in control on this planet are terrified of them, and they're using this ruse to stir the people up because they do have an agenda. And I wish people would think more about what that might be. But let's just talk about the situation right now instead of going down that road. In other words, how do you help people see that they're being flim-flammed? And experiencers have that leveled at them right now. I'm one of them, because I have people constantly telling me all the time, is this real or not? What's going on? Is this happening, this happening, this happening? And you almost have to sit there and talk to them for 2 hours to give them the truth, and take them down the right path to help themselves figure it out for themselves. It's crazy. I mean, it's insane. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't think the ETs are afraid of us. That is kind of a ridiculous statement, any more than a parent would be afraid of a 5-year-old child. I think that might be a more suitable analogy, but not quite there, because we can't harm them, even with our violent tendencies. I think the worst I've heard is people lashing out, perhaps at an ET, one of the little gray guys, probably little android gray guys, and knocking them down. That's about the worst I think anyone can do. And I see a lot of the disinformation coming from some of the whistleblower crowds saying that we can shoot these things down. I don't think so. Or that ETs might retaliate. Not so sure that's true either. I certainly don't see that from having interviewed a lot of people. ETs will allow a person to basically, act the way they're going to act until it becomes a problem, and they'll say, okay, you clearly are having issues with this, and they'll put them back in their room or what have you. But no, I don't think that they're afraid of us.
Well, here's the one thing that I think it was very correct on what he was stating, and it's just my opinion as a journalist and as an experiencer, which is a rare quality in our field.
Yes, it
okay.
is.
I think that where he was going with that is we're violent, and why would they want to come here? Why would they want to put themselves at risk for violence when you have a threat narrative that has been perceived since 2017 that the aliens are bad? I mean, who remembers Tom DeLonge shortly after the start of the TTSA going on Joe Rogan and saying we have to put nukes in space? They are afraid of our nuclear weapons. and we have to protect this planet from any alien invasion. And
Yeah.
I'm laughing at that. I'm thinking, if they have the technology to get here, right? If they have the technology to get here,
Would
why
you like
would
to know
they
the
be-
truth about why nuclear bombs are an issue for ET? Would you like to know the truth?
Yeah, you're
All right.
intuitive. Let's
All
hear
right.
your point.
All right. Well, I'm a bit of a physicist. I've been taught. And what I understand about physics and nuclear bombs, when you set a nuclear bomb off on this planet, all 12 dimensions are all in one place at the same time here, all the way through the universe. And locale is seriously a situation. So if where you're at, Dave, if they blow a bomb off where you're at, not only you are as hurt by it, but everything all the way up the dimensions, pretty far in, probably up to the 7th and 8th dimension, are affected by that bomb as well, because particles go through things very easily. They're non-local. They almost like ghost all the way through it, and that energy goes with it. So when you set a nuclear bomb off, it goes right through it, rips through it. Those who are in the way of that dimensionally in that area where you're at are at risk. They get hurt. Now, if you want to piss somebody off, keep doing it. ET understands that we're idiots, okay? And that we got a lot to learn. And they want us to stop hurting ourselves and them. Now, it's nothing for them because they know when we're going to do what we're going to do. And they move people out of the way of our stupidity, okay? Because dimensionally, it's different for them than it is for us. It still damages, but entities can be harmed if they're in the way. So they get them out of the way. Because it's just the local, like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where everything was dimensionally at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's what ripped through, not all the way through the whole universe, just in that locale. So they have time because they know it's coming. That's how advanced they are, because they don't live in a timeline like we do. They're extra dimensional, a lot of them, and they travel extra dimensionally, and they don't travel through conventional space. So they just want us to cut it out. And if you think we're the only ones doing this, you're wrong. There are other developing worlds in the universe that are just as big dumb idiots as we are. And they have plenty of experience with them. And one of the things that they've decided to do is encourage us to stop, try to explain to us, or send people who understand the truth to help guide and, give y'all some wisdom on the subject, and let us make our own decisions about this. Because the one thing that they know that we are not processing properly is that there's a whole bunch of things that can get us, and it eventually will, including ourselves. And all they're going to do is sit back and watch it happen. Now, we've been given options. We've been told, if you advance, if you become as, technological as we are, if you develop your abilities and your wisdom and everything, we'll start talking to you. But until then, you're on your bloody own. That's what this is really all about, literally. And there's nothing to be afraid of that, because we're all our own worst enemy, and we're all walking around blaming them of being afraid of us because they're afraid of our bombs. No, they're not. They're more afraid for us than they are of us. See what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
Totally agree. I
Okay.
totally agree with you on that. Here's one of the interesting points. Is we got about 5.5 minutes to go before we go to break. Preston Dennett, Dolly Safran are our guests tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to be getting into experiencers' disclosure at the bottom of the hour when we come back. But looking at this whole movement right now, Preston, we've been told since 2017, this is a threat. We have to be, we're in danger here as a planet. We need to do this. Yet somebody like Bigelow comes along on his show and says, look, they've been here thousands of years. They've been here a long time. That really doesn't sit well for the panic that they are trying to stir up with the threat narrative. When you look at the fact that if alien life has been here for thousands of years, and if they really wanted to enslave us or take over this planet, they would have got us when our best weaponry was a bow and arrow and a spear.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful point that he made. And I think anyone with half a brain can take a look at what's been happening on our planet, because we do know that contact goes way, way back. We've got really good evidence of it, whether you look at Egyptian hieroglyphs, stone carvings from practically the Stone Age, but the Vimanas of ancient India, all throughout the Middle Ages, we've got wood carvings and things like this depicting UFOs. Before that, Roman times, we know the Romans called them flying shields, because every culture has a tendency to sort of look at this through the lens of their own culture or belief system. But the point is, they've been around forever, and we know this since we started recording history. So probably a lot longer than that. And if you go to the contactees who've gotten information about this, and I'll include Dolly because she certainly has, but she's by no means the only one who's been told that we have previous iterations on this planet, have been brought here, taken off, brought here, taken off a number of times. So the idea that they're here to take over when these guys are so advanced that they can traverse the entire universe and have access to whatever planet in this universe they want, that they're going to come here to this overcrowded, polluted, violent planet to hurt people. I mean, it's not only arrogant, it's stinking thinking. It's ridiculous. There's nothing to support that scenario. No actual evidence.
The evidence is there, though, that we haven't been taken over.
Right.
The evidence is there, Dolly, that we haven't had a war of the worlds situation happen over our planet at all.
Correct.
That would exclaim to me, and I'm not saying every alien, Dolly, is a good alien. Okay. You're like me, where you've had the good, the bad, and the ugly with your abductions. Me too. Many others the same way. I've never been downloaded, but I've never been anal probed. But I've had experiences that have been, what I would consider not very friendly. And that being said, we still haven't been taken over. We still haven't had our become slaves to the grind of the alien superior races. So how do they keep selling this fear mongering?
Because, okay, so point blank, there is an agenda for this. They are creating this situation for a reason. And that's because we do have proof of a cataclysm that happens on this planet in our solar system every 12,000 years. And we're right there right now. It's about to happen again. And they've made up their mind how this is going to play. And they have an agenda. Now, if you say there's a planet with 8.7 or 8.4 billion people on it, and logistically, when the crap hits the fan, okay, only so many of them are going to survive. So they've decided who's going to be around for this and who's not. And anybody who's not is in the way. And that's what this is all about. They don't want to tell you the truth about what they're doing to the world. Now, if you're smart and you look at the population density that has just started going down, 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 they have 1,000 ways to make people stop breeding. They have 1,000 ways to make people stop loving each other and taking care of each other. They've created the situation where a world war could start for any reason whatsoever. They have people who absolutely hate each other to the point of annihilating one another with bombs. Okay, they have conducted experiments on human beings themselves. Military-industrial complex is a worldwide organization now. It used to be here in maybe France and a couple other parts of the EU, but now it's worldwide. Okay, these guys are busy, and they've been busy for a long time, and they've been messing with humanity the whole time, literally. And we have proof of it. I mean, if you look at how we're treated, if you look at how we live, if you look at how we're hated, if you look at the wars that we conduct and how many people die on a regular basis in the most horrific of ways, I mean, we're artists at it, actually. And they plan to do this.
Dolly, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Preston, you as well. Spaced Out Radio has Preston Dennett, Dolly Safran. When we return, ET experiences, ET disclosure to the experiencer. How is it different? We'll be right back.
Did you see that?
Good start, guys. Good start.
Thank you. I love this comment. Deb from something SAC.
Yeah,
She
she's
said-
from Sacramento. She's the San
Sacramento.
Francisco or Sacramento treat.
She goes, this is funny. She says, Skinny Bob told me beware the mantis beings. They eat you after Whopper time.
Thanks, Deboruni. Jennifer Vincencio Bustamante, welcome to SOR chat.
Yeah.
Hope I got your name right. There's Deb there, right there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Deboruni.
Me, why not? That's funny. That's vivid, actually.
That's Deb. That's Deb.
We're surprised with that. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
I have a very twisted sense of humor.
Oh, we all do. But some are more twisted, like Deb. I love her.
That's okay.
Jaquetta, how are you?
You have to be that way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know who else has a twisted sense of humor? ETs do. They have an
Oh, yes.
unbelievably twisted sense of humor. They laugh at things that I didn't think anybody would laugh at, and they do.
Same as Bigfoot. They're
Yeah.
twisted, too.
I bet.
I have one of them that has a squirrel under its control.
Oh my. That's totally cool, actually. You know?
Put my trail cameras out there. I got my trail cameras back now
Oh boy.
because of the forest fire situation. I had to-
Oh yeah.
couple weeks ago, we put our trail cameras up. We got 2 trail cameras looking at our gifting tree from different angles.
Mhm.
And in the footage, you see us, you know, when we're going back through the footage,
Yeah.
you see us leave. And then overnight on the one camera, there's 2 pictures taken at darkness. And then the next morning, the first picture that comes up is I had a little, about a 7-inch stick placed on top of my camera. That stick is now moved in front of my camera. And on my other trail camera, I had moss on top to camouflage it.
Mhm.
And the moss had moved to block the camera as well. And the funny part about it is when we came back, the stick was back on top of the camera on the one.
Oh,
And on
wow.
the other one, the moss was, I think on the other one, I really do believe that it was either a squirrel or the wind that pushed the moss down, because moss is very light. And so it is kind of interesting about that, but is what it is. And so we literally got nothing. And this squirrel, we got him on camera, stealing all my stuff from the gifting site and then showing it off to the camera before running behind the camera. I've lost 2 whistles,
Oh my.
2 whistles, a coin. It's trying for my glow stick.
Oh wow.
I had to bring a bunch of new stuff out there. Took my my quartz and my jade. Took everything. I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like, that shit has been out there for over a year, and now you're deciding to take it.
So you
Right?
think
Like,
the
come on.
Bigfoot trained him to bring it to him?
I that's what I think. I'm going full on woo on this one.
It's like I'll trade you food for what you bring me from that tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe one day you'll go there. There'll be a big pile of nuts just for you.
I hope
Collect
so.
that squirrel.
I hope so. Give me 2 seconds here, guys. I just want to say hello to John Allen. Pushing buttons. How you doing? And who else has jumped in here? I know Cage on the inside. Thank you for that lovely super chat. And welcome back to the show. Deborah Rooney, Erica, and T-Bone, thank you for the super chats as well. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Who else has joined us? Digiatic, nice to see you. And I will get some questions in hour number 2. So make sure that you put them in capital letters. It's easier for me to find. You don't mind. And we're coming back in about 20 seconds. Everybody. See, Erica Watson, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. Sleepy Howl, it's been a while. Nice to see you. And here we go, everybody, in like 5 seconds. Here is the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My thanks to all of you listening in. I'm Dave Scott. I host this. I wear a lot of tinfoil. I still look good. Our guests tonight, Dolly, Safran, and Preston Dennett. We're going to get to them momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. We got Preston, we got Dolly, and we got Experiencers Disclosure. In your opinion, Preston, what is the difference between UAP disclosure, UFO disclosure, and experiencer disclosure?
Well, I think in terms of UAP disclosure, this is something that's relatively new. And UFO disclosure, the idea of that goes way back, but we haven't really had any movement. There's been no official declaration that UFOs are real from any governmental body for decades. And even now they're still waffling about it. They're changing the terms. They're calling ET NHI. It's another term I'm not a fan of.
Me either.
So I feel like it's been a dog and pony show. Throughout the decades, they've always said there's nothing to this. There's absolutely no security threat. There's no evidence of anything whatsoever. You think you've seen something, you're lying. It's either a hoax, a hallucination, misperception, mental illness, or your imagination. That's what Project Blue Book said. That's what the Condon Committee said. There was a congressional hearing following the Michigan sightings in 1966. And that went nowhere either. And from that point on, there's been nothing. I think at some point ETs did come down and contact government folks and tried to push them to disclose, but they did not do it. So what happened, as near as I can tell, this is my assessment, that when we sort of in the 1940s, the modern age of UFOs, started exploding nuclear bombs and spreading pesticides throughout our oceans and rivers, and started killing each other in very large numbers. Basically, we were on a pathway towards self-destruction, and the ET's efforts to get government to disclose fell on deaf ears. So they launched a very well-orchestrated, very carefully orchestrated publicity campaign. They're like, we need to go to experiencers. The only way we're going to get the word out is if we go to all humanity. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. I would point to the schoolyard encounters, which are very well known. The Rua Zimbabwe case is probably the most famous. But of course, there's the Westall High School in Melbourne, Australia in 1966. Crestview Elementary School, Palaca, Florida, 1 year to the day after the Melbourne case. The Hillsdale College, Broadhaven. I mean, there's a bunch of them. I ended up writing a whole book on them. And this is a perfect example of what I'm calling a publicity campaign, of reaching out to small groups of people and sometimes large. I wrote another book about UFOs over drive-in theaters. And you can see this at some sporting events. There was a case in Italy where UFOs showed up at a soccer match. This is mid-1950s, I think, late 1950s. Some 40,000 people saw this. So this is experiencer disclosure. This is ETs coming down and said, screw the government. They're not telling the people the truth. We're going to bring people on board, and we have got a message for everyone on this planet. There's some estimates that about 1 in 40 to 1 in 50 people are experiencers. And that's not a complete guess, because J. Allen Hynek is certainly quoted as saying this, but the Roper organization, a huge polling organization, did a massive poll in 1991 and found 1 in 50 people. And I thought, you know what? That's very clever, because each of us probably has a circle of family, friends, and coworkers of about that number, 30, 40, 50 people on the average, which is just enough. Insert one experiencer into that circle, and everybody knows the message that ETs are trying so hard to give. And it is one of their simplest agendas, for lack of a better word, their goals or mission, is to just disclose. That's it. Let us know that we are not alone, beyond, a lot of other agendas. But that is one of their main reasons, is let's just let the people know, because the governments are not behaving properly. They're not moral, they're not truthful, they're not transparent, they're covering up, and the ETs said enough is enough. That's why you see from the 1940s onwards, people being taken on board, humanoids. Because before that, you really didn't. There was not a flood of humanoid reports until the 1950s. So I think that's the difference right there. It's a grassroots campaign.
The grassroots campaign seems to be getting a lot more attention, Dolly, recently, rather than the governmental side. Yes, the governmental side of disclosure or confirmation, which I believe it is, I've always said that, is exciting. It's thrilling. It's disappointing. It'll make you pull your hair out, for those of us who have beautiful hair. Okay. And sorry, Preston, I had to do that.
It's all right.
But for the idea, though, that experiential disclosure, most of them, if not all experiencers, already know that disclosures happen to them.
Yeah.
So take us through that, because, as exciting as the governmental side is, the people who have had those encounters and have accepted those encounters really do feel, what's the big deal? Just bring it on more. Like, what are you holding back from? Dolly.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting statement. Well, there's two things that happened. I came out to Preston in 2016. It took him 6 years to vet me. He wanted to know everything. He crawled up my family's backsides. He talked to my friends. He's seen all my medical reports. He's seen all my evidence. He talked to me. He's put me on tape for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I had to take him to some places as well at first. He's talked to me so much and so often. One of the things that I noticed he was trying to do, he was trying to trip me up. Okay, because he had hours and hours and hours of tape on me, and he wanted to see if my story was going to change. And of course, no, it did not. So that helped. And then he wrote a little book before he came out with Symmetry and said, I'm going to put you in this book. How do you feel about it? And I said, go ahead. And at first I was a little dubious about using my name. And then I thought, what am I doing? Put my bloody name in there. I know this is what I'm doing. And he did. And then he did Symmetry and more tapes, more interviews, more this, more that.
I'm still taping her, by the way.
Yeah. I invested a huge amount of time and effort into being as honest and transparent and open as I possibly could to just speak the truth. And I know that every other experiencer I know that has had experiences feel the same bloody way. Every last one of us know without and beyond the shadow of any doubt. I don't need to be convinced. It's my everyday life. As I'm speaking to you, this is who I am. This is what I know. This is me. And this is how it goes. And we all are 100% agreement among us. I hear it all the time. What the heck's wrong with everybody? Why don't they get this? Why don't they listen to us? And that's because there's a huge element out there that don't want you to hear us. Okay? We've been denied access to go to the talks in Washington. Anytime you talk to anybody who's, got the ability to try to bring you on, no, not going to happen. We're shoved to the side. We're not looked at because we are delusional. We're deluded, or we're having dreams or whatever. And then we have another phenomenon happening at the same bloody time. The government has come up with my labs, and they've been doing that for 50 years. And now they've got this whole other set of people who are experiencers, but now they're my lab experiencers and they don't realize it. And a lot of the stories that you hear are horrific about experience. They're spewing that out. And I take nothing away from those people. They've had an experience. They've been abducted by something that's, got them, but it's a my lab and they don't know the difference, unfortunately. So now we've got two groups of people, authentic experiencers and then my lab experiencers, and we're all sitting there trying to communicate with one another and figure it all out at the same time. Nothing like smoke and mirrors and confusion on both sides, right? What a brilliant idea somebody had somewhere for that, to shut it all down and not really leave anybody with a clear idea of what the heck's going on. I went into shock when I realized it was happening. I mean, I didn't hear about UFOs here from this perspective, from this side of it with y'all. I was told to stay out of it. Don't read the books. Don't listen to it in the news. Don't nothing. You're working with us. No contact with that. None. And then when I came out, I of course jumped into it head first, and I went into dead shock. I thought it was going to be so easy to talk to people. I was dead wrong. Dead wrong. It is not easy to talk to people. I mean, I get attacked every which way but loose. And it's and somebody had to think of a way for that to happen to all of us, experiencers. And then some experiencers would love to go to Washington, but they're terrified of what they'll do to them too. We've got that threat over our heads as well, because we see people dropping off and we wonder what the heck happened. That's creepy. We see researchers dropping off. We see people getting in trouble for researching and doing the thing. I mean, it's a whole thing. And it's, I keep thinking, how do you solve this problem, Dave? How do we solve this problem?
Well, and that's what I don't know. Is it communication? Is it understanding? Is it research? Is it more than just that, than what we know, what we're doing right now, Dolly?
I have ideas, but I'm not sure without lots of people in agreement all at the same time, ready to force the issue, that it wouldn't be, it's impossible to have happen. I mean, if, I see people going to Washington all the time and free this, free that, oh my, the politics of it as well. Now I see ET in politics. I see disclosure in politics. It's like, that's the arena they're forcing us to go to. I keep thinking there's another arena out there. Okay. There's another way to do this without them. And we all have to agree to do that. That's what I think we should try for next.
Before I bring Preston back in, what is that arena? What is that next arena?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting there. It's podcasts like this. It's trying to bring consensus, is what Dolly is. That word she brings up a lot, and it's a really good point, because at this point, even among UFO researchers, we don't have a consensus. There's very little that all researchers agree upon, even to what we're dealing with, because there's people who believe we're dealing with demonic entities. There's people who believe there's our time travelers from the future. What I can say in terms of the difference between experiencer disclosure and governmental disclosure is littered with lies, and the story constantly changes. and it's never comprehensive. Whereas experiencers have been telling the same story for a very long time with details that are incredibly consistent. So I think what we need to do is, the convention format has been going on for a very long time, and it's made a huge difference. But we need to bring this into schools. We need to give this a level of legitimacy to where it's something we can educate people and agree upon. We need to agree upon the fact that we're dealing with ETs. Bottom line, we need to figure out who we're dealing with here. And not to say that there aren't demonic beings or other things going on, because there's a lot going on this planet. But if we can't agree on the simple fact that we are being visited by extraterrestrials, because our governments certainly know this, and I think we're seeing that on the government side in terms of reports of crash retrievals and ET bodies. But here in the citizen side, the experiencers, there's still a real lack of hard evidence. And it's frustrating, I think, for experiencers who, like Dolly said, aren't believing or disbelieving. It's experiential knowledge. They know it. I know UFOs are real. I know ETs are real. I know it because I've experienced them. I've seen them. I've talked to them. So it's not a matter of belief or disbelief. And most people, all humanity isn't there yet. So we just need to find a way. The only way I can think of is educating people in schools. I think we need to start teaching this in classrooms, in a classroom setting. Because to ignore this, the history books need to be rewritten once again, because they've been edited so many times. We need to include this subject because it's vitally important and it's really relevant to the history of humanity. So I don't see any other way around it. People need to be educated on this subject, and we need to come to a consensus.
How do you educate, though, when there is really such a degradation of the experiencer? Because, I remember scientist Rich Hoffman on this show a few years ago basically saying he wished, and I'm paraphrasing here, all experiencers would kind of get the hell out of the way, using his term, because we were just creating a lack of seriousness in this topic, thinking of people who've been abducted when I realize he's a nuts and bolts kind of guy. But many of the scientific community want nothing to do with the experiencer side, Dolly.
Yeah, it's because they're afraid of what'll come out with that. Because if you get an experiencer and you don't want to do any, see, one of the things that I'm concerned with, and I won't perform for people. Okay. I can't do that because then I become a guinea pig. They'll tear me up. I don't want to go there. I'm protecting my integrity and myself from that. Okay. But there are ways to get experiencers like in a safe environment among other experiencers and people who work with experiencers for real. And I mean, on their side, not anybody else, not government agents or anybody, and allow them to give, proof. You can put them on a lie detector. You can do x-rays looking for implants. You can test their abilities, their psychic abilities. All experiencers are pretty high on the psychic scale. You can test their stories in a scientific method and manner. Okay. And then start logging and cataloging just what that means. That brings validity to it. It brings experiential authority to it. It brings all kinds of things. And it when all of that data starts coming in, you start to see that this data is for real, that it's not a joke, that it's this is something, it's a phenomenon, it's actually real. And it will shut the hell out of the people who are trying to call us causing problems and sticking nuts and bolts into things. I want to tell you something. Most of my medical records, if I didn't get them myself and hide them, they're gone. I mean, I've gone back recently looking for them again. Gone. Bye. See you. Woo. I've had scans of my hand. They've they're gone. They got deleted out. Test results, things like that. They're somebody's going in behind me and erasing my life because they don't want the proof of it to come out. And they're dumb-dumbs because I was smart enough to keep it. Okay, I have that stuff. And if I want to prove to you that I'm psychic, I can, but I'm not going to prove it to a government agent. I'm not walking in their door, and I'm not going to put myself in danger in their environment. And all experiencers think this way, all of us, because we know who they are. We know who the good guys are and the bad guys are. And no, I'm not proving myself to the idiot who said what he did. No way. You take it somewhere else. If you can't figure this out on your own, and I want to say one more thing, okay? The government does have proof that ET exists. They have high resolution film. They have bodies. They have craft. They have back engineered technologies, blah, blah, blah. They have things that are so absolutely correct and known, and they won't tell the truth about it. So how are we going to stand here and believe anything they say to us because they're sitting on top of that and lying to us at the same time? It's like watching a carnival guy con you into buying peanuts when you think it's cotton candy. That's what it is, It annoys ET as well. And I'll tell you why it annoys them. Because they watch it happening and they watch experiencers trying to get the story out to everybody, and they were thwarted right and left. And there was a message. I've got a message. I'm going to read it to you. You ready? This was dictated to me.
Sure.
Okay. It says, disclosure from those in authority over humanity will always tactically use plausible deniability. Their agenda supersedes all humanity. Our reality is their construct. It is their power and its weaponization which impugns all explanation to humanity. Therefore, learn all that is learnable, and each of us must use our abilities to discern our position in their paradigm. Wisdom is your freedom from their tyranny. And that's exactly how ET sees it right now. We're being terrorized by these people. It's worse than dragging fear. It's terror. Everybody's so good at calling terrorists. We don't see everyday people that we're being terrorized by our governments as well.
Very true. Very true. But on the UFO front, as we got about 2 minutes to go here,
Okay.
at the experiencers as pariahs in the UFO world still.
Why would you say pariah? That's what I want to know. Why would we be a pariah?
Because I like using big words.
Okay.
That's a huge mistake to look at experiencers that way, because everything we know about ETs comes from one source. Everything that we can trust, that we know, it's not coming from the government. It's coming from experiencers. And for them to be overlooked, ridiculed, gaslit, disbelieved, is to waste an incredible opportunity to expand our fields of knowledge in every area of science, in every area of psychic ability, morals, ethics, everywhere. It's unprecedented access to fields of knowledge that are far beyond where we're at today. And to just say, it's woo-woo, they're talking about humanoids, ignore these people, they're crazy, is disingenuous. It's evil. It's the worst kind of gaslighting, and it's infuriating. And this is what keeps the vast majority of experiencers absolutely silent, locked up, not going to tell a living soul. Because why would they? Why would they expose themselves to being mistreated so badly? Oh, this UFO field is a very difficult field to be in, because even in the early 1950s, a lot of researchers wouldn't even touch humanoid reports. Not going to talk about it. And to talk about lights in the sky, and we're going to learn so much from the way this object is flying by. No, you're not.
I'm going to get you guys to hold right there, because we have a lot more to ask you about experiencer disclosure when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Preston Dennett, you can find his books on Amazon or his website, PrestonDennett.com. Or is it still Weebly, Preston?
It is.
Weebly? Okay.
Yes.
Go to Weebly. Check out Preston Dennett. Dolly Safran is here as well. They're both amazing. They're both so smart. And they're both guests for another hour. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, guys, we got about 5.5 minutes. I'm just going to play a little video here, okay?
Okie dokie.
Right.
I love it.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten. The 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, we bring in Preston and Dolly once again. Thank you tonight to our super chatters so far. We have T-Bone, we have Erica, we have Debaruni, and Caged on the inside. Thank you very much for your love and support of SOR. We appreciate it. And let's see, anybody else jump in here? I think we're good. T-Bone, what does that say? Captain, must have heard you say this is not a happy place 30 times last week. It's a happy place. Here we go, everybody. Let's go into hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Experiencers Disclosures, a topic with Preston Dennett and Dolly Safran. My name is Dave Scott. I'm the host of this beautiful, beautiful radio show that you are listening to. And I thank you for tuning us in each and every night. We really do appreciate it. I want to remind all of you that this is just a really cool place to be in. So if you're following us on social media or anything like that, hit subscribe, ring that bell. We are here 7 days a week. Well, 5 days a week on radio, soon to be 7. How about that? Soon to be 7. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Palmarian. Palmarian is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Preston Dennett is one of the best authors when it comes to the UFO world. His research is exemplary. Dolly Safran is an experiencer, author, researcher as well. And we are talking about experiencers disclosure. Preston, let's start with you on this, because experiencers disclosure, people already know when they've had an ET experience, this is very real to them. This is very cosmic to them. It really opens up their minds. It changes many people. Many people can't sleep at night because of what's happened. Many people lose their jobs because they become inundated with trying to figure out what happened to them. The why me question keeps coming on up. I still ask it today. And the first time I was taken was in 2014 that I know of. Explain how the experiencers go through a different process than, say, what the government officials are doing.
Yeah, I can't think of a more life-changing experience for a person than having direct contact, because it can affect them physically. Lots of cases of people being healed, but light sensitivity, certainly there's a whole aspect of insomnia, some trauma involved with this. So it affects a person mentally as well, because after they're confronted with something that's completely out of their worldview. And it's very difficult to deal with that, because suddenly your whole belief system goes right out the window in a split second. So you're physically affected, you're mentally affected, you're emotionally affected. Seeing a UFO can be incredibly scary, incredibly thrilling. You hear the whole range of emotions. And it goes beyond this. people are affected spiritually. By that, I mean, I've interviewed people who were profound atheists or really religious, and almost always they have a real hard time with it. Someone who's more towards the center of that probably fares a little bit better, but it affects the way you look at your place in the universe. And it goes beyond that even. It affects you psychically. So you might be having a normal life, you're taken on board, you meet these guys, you have a whole conversation, you come back, and now you start having mediumship abilities. You have the ability to heal people. You start having astral projection experiences. You start remote viewing. You have precognition, physically levitating. I've got a lot of cases of people who physically levitated after their encounters. So someone is profoundly affected in every single level of their life. One gentleman I interviewed, after his encounter, he quit his job. It was not where he wanted to work. He left a bad relationship. He moved from California to Hawaii. He started collecting food. He became a prepper. So I cannot emphasize enough how life-changing this experience is. My own sister-in-law saw gray ETs from 10 feet away, and she said it was like being woken up when you're awake. Suddenly the veil is lifted. So it's 100% turn into the twilight zone. And this can be very difficult, not only for the person, but for their family members. I mean, when I started investigating UFOs myself, my family became divided. My brother Mark, he'd seen a UFO. He's a contactee, so he was okay with it. My little sister Valerie would later found out that she's a contactee as well. It's in our family. It does follow certain family lines. I didn't think I was having contact. I was. That was a long, long journey for me, and it was not easy. Because I had a missing time incident at age 9 that I just glossed over, never examined, just never unpacked until fairly recently, actually. So there's a whole segment of the population who's, as David Jacobs put it, living a secret life. Dolly emphasized that many times. She's like, I don't think you understand. I'm living 2 separate lives, one with the ETs and one here on Earth. So there's an army of people out there. It's not a few. It's millions of people who are dealing with this. And I think the ETs know exactly what they're doing, because this is one of their goals, is to wake people up. People are walking in a sleep state. They have no memories of their past lives. They don't know why they behave the way they do. You ask people like, why did you do that? They don't know. They aren't aware of their own motivations. People live their lives in a lie, in delusion, and ETs have had enough. So this is what's happening on our planet, and it's a step forward, I think, for contactees. But like all pioneers to any field of knowledge, it's a tough road, and you will get attacked for it. And that includes family and friends. So this is why so many people I've interviewed say, you know what, don't use my name. I haven't told my wife this. My husband doesn't know. I haven't told my kids. I've tried to, and they think I'm crazy, so I just shut up. And yeah, most people never talk. So this is the kind of situation we're dealing with. It's very isolating for contactees. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing, actually, I think, because most contactees I've interviewed, I asked them that. I'm like, would you trade this? And a few would be like, yeah, this was too hard. I wish it never happened. But most are like, no, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's given me a whole new viewpoint, and it's one of the most valuable experiences of my life.
How about for you, Dolly? As an ET experiencer, as somebody who has experienced it all, the good, the bad, the fun, the not so fun. I mean, when you look at your own personal disclosure into this, and I know it's been years for you, I mean, you've kind of grown up knowing that this is a real phenomena and have it's only been the last few years you've been very public about it. But when you decided to go public with it, how did that change your perspective on the experiencer part of disclosure?
When I'm with ET, I grew up with them. They taught me pretty much everything I know. I learned here too, but not to the extent that I learned with them. I also was brought up in their society. I became familiar. I'm one of them. I feel like I am one of them. I'm one of them. And I see myself understanding the concept of what their society is. And then here, when I wanted to come out, I walked into, unfortunately, the full force of what that means. I opened my eyes and saw society here the way it really is. I was guarding myself before that. I wasn't paying the kind of attention to society here on this planet the way I did before. I was insulated from it, and it shocked me. It disappointed me. It made me realize that reality isn't real reality here. People don't have the education that they need. People don't have the abilities. Their abilities aren't functioning properly. They're not aware of what's really going on in our universe with everything in it at the same time. People are afraid of things that they shouldn't be afraid of. People don't think about things that they should be thinking of. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's almost like being downloaded in the wrong way when I think about or watch things that go on here or hear people talking. And it's a real relief for me before to go back with ET and just hang out with them. It was like, I need the vacation from this. That's how bad it got for me for a while. And one of the reasons I wanted to come out was because I realized that y'all are being lied to. Y'all are living a lie. And I didn't think that was okay. You aren't sovereign in yourselves. You're not. People are walking around here looking for everybody else to tell them what's going on and obey rules that nobody should be obeying, and all kinds of things like that. And it's like y'all just don't know what real freedom is of mind, spirit, all of it. And I can stand thinking about it, so that's why I decided to come out. It's like people have nightmares when they go to sleep. My nightmare is waking reality here. And that's really hard to deal with. It makes me want to talk even more. I mean, I'm one of those people that's like, please, if you don't want to hear what I have to say, just spend 5 minutes considering what I say and then go and try to prove me wrong or whatever. Take it and move on. If I plant a seed here and there, and that's all I can do. I mean, I can't really affect anybody here. I know this. What I do, what I say as an experiencer is a fleeting thing in people's minds. Most people just listen to the shows and they go on and they live their lives and they don't think about it again until somebody else starts talking about it. It's not a daily routine. There should be wonderment amongst us. When we're young, little children, we have wonderment. What's the universe? What's everything? What's God? What's the clouds? What's the sky? How did stars get there? Real, true, wanting to know the truth, wonderment. And we've lost that as a humanity. It's not the same. It's we're too busy being bombarded with all the crazy stuff that goes on, deliberately bombarded by it. And we've lost the ability to want to know the truth, to see it for what it really is, and to experience who we are and use our own abilities ourselves, learn to develop ourselves. We're too busy following what everybody else says and needing to march and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's like, do you ever read a book? Do you ever just look in a telescope? Did it ever occur to you that ET gets here because somebody's flying the craft? There's real humanity in that. There's people coming over here. It's not just the crafts. They want you to think that it's just the crafts. It's not. There are people in the craft coming here. And why? What would be the purpose of that? And people don't realize it's because we're related to them. We are all children of theirs. We're all starseeds. They're the last one of us. We were put here by them. They're our parents, our progenitors, but we don't think of it that way. The whole universe is all related to itself. And we don't know that. People here don't have the ability to understand that because we're too busy in belief systems and not knowledge and wisdom. That's how I feel about it.
I know when I first had my first ET experience, it was 5 days after I had witnessed an ET, a UFO landing. And then I met a young lady named Samantha Mowat, who you definitely have to have on your podcast, by the way.
Yes.
If you haven't already. And I remember going into the forest with Samantha. And at this point, I didn't think I had ever been taken. I still don't know if I was prior to that. And walking into the forest with her. And this is 2:00 in the afternoon. Sun is shining, beautiful spring day. Kids are still at school. And walking into that forest and seeing that 10 to 12 foot extraterrestrial standing there about 200 feet away. And Preston, I think you hit the nail on the head when you were speaking about this. And this is what reminded me of that is just the idea that this wasn't supposed to exist. This was supposed to be somebody else's fairy tale, not my own. And to go from fairy tale to reality in a split second, I've explained it to people many a times like this, where I said, imagine having your own personal rule book. You know, everything your parents taught you, your sisters or your brothers taught you, your teachers, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, your coaches, every rule and everything that they taught you. And you carry that book of rules with you. And it's a mental book. It's not a physical. And then you have an ET experience. And it's like somebody, a complete stranger, comes right up to you, grabs that book, rips it out of your hand, and tears it up. I didn't know what to think afterwards. I was messed up. You know, I mean, I was excited, don't get me wrong, but I was messed up over it. And I agree with you guys when you talk about this, because as someone who's gone through it, and somebody who's lived it, I can't imagine what it would be like without that experience. Where would I be in this field without those experiences? I doubt I would even be in this field, and I'd be watching it on television just like everybody else, you know, says, well, look at that. Look what they're doing, and buying everything that we could get from the news. Never mind the research, but just the news. And I think that's important to learn, that experiencers look at this differently, Preston. They look at this with a more open eye because they don't need the proof anymore. They've been there, done that, and they just want to know why them, which is, I think, an important part of the experiencer side of disclosure. Why were they chosen? Why was Dolly chosen? Why do you have missing time? Why did I see that alien in the forest? Why us?
Why not? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a natural tendency for people to think. But the fact is, it's not just you or just one person. We really need to understand how common this is. And this is something I've been grappling with. And recently I've started to realize, because I had a contactee I interviewed in England. He's like, listen, you need to understand that everyone has been contacted. Everybody. He says, I just don't think most people remember it. I'm like, well, that seems like a lot of people. Everyone? And he insisted. This was before I met Dolly, and she told me essentially the same thing. And for some people, it's just a simple UFO sighting. A little craft flying by, in 3 seconds, your life has changed. Contact happens in many different ways. Some people will have just dreams. Some people will have downloads of information, and that's enough for them. Not everyone is going to be a full level, contactee. But here's what woke up my eyes. I put out this challenge. Name any city, any town on this planet. I'm going to find a UFO encounter for you. Don't care if it's a tiny little town in the Arctic Circle or wherever. And I got a huge response, and I've been doing this for over a year now. And people send me their little town or their big town, and sure enough, every single one of these places has an encounter in it. And what's amazing about this is these are mostly from local newspapers and a few books and other sources, but mostly newspaper clippings. And most people, again, I've said this probably 4 times already, don't report. It's about 1 in 50 people who report their sighting. There was a case, this always comes to my mind when I talk about disclosure. Because what is disclosure? Disclosure is, a revelation. It's the truth. Now we know what's going on. It's disclosure. There's a gentleman by the name of Donald Shawcross who had an encounter in, I think it was Virginia or West Virginia. UFOs came down, human-looking ETs stepped out. He had a conversation with them, and he asked them, why don't you disclose? And their response surprised him, and it certainly surprised me. They said, we have. We already have. And if you think about it, yes, that's 100% true. Disclosure has happened. Experiencer disclosure. Because how many times do they have to show themselves? How many times? 10, 20, that's not going to be enough. 100, 1,000, 100,000, a million? It's well over several million. Because we know this, because NUFORC, National UFO Reporting Center, and MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, together have about 200,000-300,000 cases in their database. That's just MUFON and NUFORC, not APRO, not NICAP, not QFOs, not any UFO reporting service in Canada or France or England or Chile or Brazil, Mexico, and so forth. So it's millions. Disclosure has happened. ETs have done their part. So really, we're just dealing with an element on this planet who has really been difficult. And I wouldn't look to them for answers.
Yeah. I would like to make a small point.
Please do. We got 2.5 minutes.
Okay. Everybody has been contacted. I don't, people say, why you? Why did they choose you? They didn't. They chose everybody. But how we respond to that is key. I responded. I wanted it. I rapidly woke up and went, yay, okay, I'm dealing with this, and accepted what the reality of it and moved through it. From a very small child, I did this. Look at Leonardo da Vinci. You think that boy wasn't acting on another level? His intelligence was incredible. And he did have contact. He drew pictures of it. He talked about it to people. He was a contactee. So was Tesla. There's a whole bunch. Most of the great artists in the Enlightenment age, there's all kinds of people who were contacted and talked openly about it. And people have a tendency to think that, why me? If you want to be given something without working for it, you're a dummy. You have to accept the offer and then work through it with them. In other words, you still have to learn yourself. You still have to go through the work that it takes to have that kind of contact and memory work with them and stuff like that. That's what it is. Everybody is contacted, everybody, but it's how you respond to it. That's the key. Literally. You ready for it? Go for it.
Yeah, they consider us family, so why wouldn't they contact you?
Right.
They're family.
I don't know. Like, I know for me, I don't have any family that's ever admitted to this. I don't have any family that has ever adopted this subject. I'm the only one. So, and I'm sure there are more like me where, like you said, Dolly, a lot of families don't talk about this. They don't want to talk about it. They're scared of this conversation.
Right.
So that's kind of where we stand. Guys, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because when we return on Spaced Out Radio with Preston and Dolly, we are going to get into some audience questions. There's some great questions from our audience. So what I'm going to suggest you do, if you're listening in Radio Land, come by our YouTube channel one time or two or three or more, and you can join the chat room. It is live. That's where we take our questions from. or if you want to listen in on X or Facebook, you could do that as well. Spaced Out Radio for it all. Once again, second half of the show coming up here right after this.
Listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, there we go. There we go. Let's see who else is here. Anybody else jump in here? Number one, how you doing? Wilford Brimley, how's the diabetes tonight? Well, let's see here. Claudette, how are you? Let's see here. Who else do we have? Longhorn Paranormal, listening in on X. Nothing but trouble over there. Oh, I don't believe in aliens and UFOs. And here you are at Bradshaw Ranch looking for aliens and UFOs. Oh, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. What else do we have? Jim Young on Facebook. How you doing? Man, how did I miss so much of the chat room? You guys must be going fast.
There, you have a right chatty group in here. You really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep trying to look at it. It's like, woo, I got to go back and look again.
Yeah. There's Karen from Tucson MUFON. How are you, my dear? Love ya. She's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Big fan. Big fan of Karen. Have you met Karen? Tucson MUFON? Oh, you have to. She is just so nice.
Goodness.
Can we have a campfire UFO storytelling night with s'mores, Dave? Sure, come on over.
Oh, I'd love to.
Come on up.
That'd be fun.
We could do some s'mores. We'll probably have to have a little Bailey's on the side, but that's okay. That's okay. That works. David Huber, thank you for that super chat. A good Canadian super chat at that. And welcome to the show, man. Thank you for joining us in our chat room. Appreciate you. Let's see. Hey, Cuff, how are you? Are you still cranky tonight? You still got some crank? We love you, A-Cuff. Area 51, how you doing?
Oh, Area 51. Do we know who that is? Area 51? I'm thinking we do.
It's Juan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see some familiar names in chat. It's awesome.
Yeah. Karen and I skywatch Tucson weekly together. Oh,
Did
very
anybody
cool.
get to see the SpaceX booster rocket hit the moon?
I'm such.
Wasn't
I,
that cool?
I saw the video today. Elon Musk posted a great video up,
Right.
and I'm still not sure. I still haven't looked into why they did it, but
Oh, I got a feeling I know why. They want to see the effects on equipment on the moon, how it's going to take it, and they also they were testing out how to land stuff on there without going to too much expense, It's going to be interesting to see what he tries to put on the moon after this. They got ideas.
I wonder if there were tardigrades on that rocket.
I don't know. I think it was pretty well spent, Although they did make it go there. I think they were using it before they aimed it properly and got it going and then just let it go. I don't know that it went exactly to the spot that they wanted it to. If it did, then they probably did.
All right, we got 35 seconds. Thank you tonight to David, to Vaughn, to T-Bone ×2, to Erica, to Deb, and to Cage for the amazing super chats. Thank you to FAP for not super chatting for the 758th straight day. Appreciate that, FAP. And
Yeah. Louise, I love you. You're sweetie. We know you're in here. I'm watching you.
yes.
She's
All
one of our
right.
regulars.
Here we go, guys. Here we go. We've kicked off the second half hour, or the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We're going to get right to our guests tonight, Preston Dennett and Dolly Safran. We've been talking about experiencers' disclosure. How does it differ from government disclosure? Well, I think it's more real, it's more personal. And if you're an experiencer, you already know. You don't need convincing. We're going to get to some audience questions right now. And we're going to start off with Dunzel here, who is asking, are extraterrestrials natural born healers? Preston, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think so. They're very advanced psychically, so we know that they can levitate, obviously telepathy. And having written a book about healing cases, most of them are done with what appears to be some sort of light technology. There's a number of cases where it's basically hands-on healing. So I think I'm just going to say a big yes to that based on the first-hand stories I've heard. Yeah.
How about for you, Dolly?
Yeah, they have the ability. They're that advanced. They're born with wide open psychic ability. They're encouraged and trained as very small children, and they're brought up in the techniques of healing. It's part of their science. So yeah, they all have it. I know that some of them choose to be healers, go in the direction of doing that, like specifically is that's their path. That's what they want to do with their lives. And then others move on to other things, but they all do have the ability to heal.
As we all do, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Paramarv's asking, there's a mindset that the aliens are demons or demonic. How do you respond to this idea?
I have 10 reasons why this is a failed theory, and I don't subscribe to it. And I know there are people who do. It's religious thinking, essentially. And I've debated some folks on this, but in a nutshell, we have 1/3 of the so-called angels have fallen, and that's what we're dealing with. Well, what about the 2/3? So wouldn't it be twice or 3 times as lucky? Twice as lucky. Okay, let me rephrase it. Twice the chance that you're encountering angelic beings as opposed to demonic. Second, you're isolating yourself here on Earth, and every single creature out there is demonic. How much sense does that make from just a logical point of view? We know here on Earth that we are biological beings living on a planet. I think we've come to enough awareness of that. So it's absolutely 100% logical that we would not be the only people in this universe living here. To think so would be incredibly arrogant. It's an anthropocentric theory, is what I'm saying. And throughout history, this is proven to be not a good theory. Anything that's overly anthropocentric, that puts us at the center, has been proven false. ETs are healing people. Demons don't really do that. Demons don't need a craft to fly around. Demons don't have a technology that we can reverse engineer. We have the bodies. So I think there's a lot of evidence that you cannot explain away under the demonic theory. And I could go on about that, but those are some of the best reasons.
All right, let's move on to another question. This one will be for you, Dolly. Derek is asking, how do aliens feel about the U.S. government having bodies from either crash retrievals or from harming them and keeping them captive?
it's a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to try to explain it out. When ET goes out and goes to another world and works with the people, and they're put themselves on, we would call it a mission, they know that they're potentially putting their lives on the line, sort of like a soldier going out, only it's different. It would be more like a missionary, and they know that fate is fate, and sometimes things happen. That being said, if they crash, and crashes do happen, there are reasons for it. Not because we've shot them down, but because our magnetosphere is down and things are crazy. And, sometimes even ET pilots make mistakes too. They're not perfect. Happen. Torturing ETs is another whole matter entirely. There are two kinds of situations where I'll explain to you why that can't happen. One, the AIs are programmable. In other words, they're AI, and they're not allowed to live 5 minutes past hitting the ground and not having any way back up or being rescued. And they will shut down. And there's no bringing them back once they go through that process, and they start to decompose very rapidly. So they've got some of those bodies, but they've got them on ice. And they've experimented with some that they've had on ice, but you can't torture something that's already turned itself off. Then there are like the Greys or the Nordics or whatever, other ET types. If they are on a craft and it goes down, they're not suited to living on this planet for any great length of time, and they will die very rapidly within hours, especially the tall Greys that can't take it here. They very rarely come down. They only stay for a short period of time, and they get the heck out because our atmosphere is deadly to them. Our gravity is not good for them, and they die very rapidly. So you don't have you can't torture somebody within a day or two. You just can't, because they're too busy. The guys who grab them are too busy trying to keep them alive. So there's no torturing going on. Then there is the situation where the government likes to play games and make you think that they've got stuff and they're doing stuff to it, but they're wrong. They're lying about it. So there's a whole big disinformation about ET bodies and stuff like that too. When I say that the AIs decompose rapidly, I'm not joking. They will go to jelly within 48 hours of turning off. They're gone. It's plant material mostly, biological stuff. Goes. The others would last longer, but they still our atmosphere. Like I said, it takes a lot of real serious situation to keep them from decomposing as well. I think one of the reasons you haven't seen any of them is because that's the problem. All you're going to see is something that isn't close enough to what was really gone to begin with. So
all right, let's move on to another question here. Let's go to Jules here.
Okay.
Are experiencer symptoms caused by some physiological changes that the phenomena does on purpose, or is it a side effect? Or could the physical states that those symptoms predispose you to contact? What's your thoughts on that, Dolly?
Well, your abilities are natural. You have the equipment. You got a pineal gland in your head. And when you come in contact, you're already psychic. You're operating. You just don't know it, because the volume's not turned up on your ability to hear out of yourself. When you come in contact with ET, it's like putting jumper cables on a battery. Okay. It brings it back to life. It fully charges it. It gets it going really good, and the car operates really, really well. Well, that stimulation to your pineal gland by somebody else who's really, really psychic coming at you opens you back up for a while and gives you a chance to use your abilities. And some people last longer. Some people jump on it and say, "Oh, I'm going to do what I can to keep this," and they do. It just depends on the person and how much contact they had. But that's what's happening. It's you're being communicated with, and it wide opens you because your own pineal gland is like being stimulated properly. We're not stimulating our pineal glands here. We're calcifying them here with fluoride and all kinds of toxins in our planet and stuff like that. So contact is important for us because it shows us that we do have that ability. They just turn up the volume on it and help kickstart us into using it.
Can I answer it real quick?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think some is a side effect because people will have an encounter and they'll come away with a bad headache because it's a lot to process. Sometimes they'll have light sensitivity. I don't think that's necessarily intentional. Of course, people will be healed. That's obviously intentional. But like Dolly says, hanging around ETs activates your own psychic abilities. So you'll come away from an experience and start having poltergeist-like activity. You can't wear watches. TVs and machines and stuff don't work that well around you. I would say that that's more of an accidental side effect, but they intentionally are trying to wake you up psychically. So I think both is going on here. And yes, people who are perhaps profoundly psychic, that does predispose you to contact. Absolutely. We have a lot of near-death experiencers who suddenly wake up and then they have contact. So it's a two-way street going on here.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that. All right, let's get to another question here. Let's go to Jeff here. Preston, is there any other stories like the pancake given to the farmer?
Joe Simonton. Love that case. Yeah, there certainly is. There's a case in France where a guy came upon ETs. They handed him what he thought was a chocolate bar. It wasn't. It was very bitter. Another case in Sweden, they handed this lady a piece of food that she thought looked like chocolate cake. It wasn't. It was something else, some type of food. There's quite a few cases of this. I just found another in Brazil where a gentleman was given a piece of fruit that he said was crossed between a plum and an apple, and he bit into it, and it was delicious. People have not, generally speaking, saved samples of these because they're taken away from them, but it's not at all uncommon for people to be given food of some form or even drink when meeting with the ETs, but I don't know of any other pancake cases necessarily. But absolutely, all types of food items.
All right, let's get to another one here. I like this question here. Why are the experienced stories important to the crowd that called us for disclosure? Dolly, I want to start with you on that one.
All right. Well, it's important. We forget to consider how we were brought up and how we learned. We had parents, we had grandparents, some of us had great-grandparents, and they were telling us the stories of their life to help us understand what life is really all about. We were gaining experience from them. We were learning from them. We were given ways to survive, okay? Experiencers are talking to you from experiential knowledge that we gained through contact. And it's important to consider what they say, whether you believe it or not. Just give it a go, listen, because there's little nuggets in there that will hit you and you'll go, oh, I can identify that by something that I've learned before or something in my family that I've had experience with or whatever. We connect to knowledge through speaking to one another. That's how we learn. You have teachers, you got a teacher in a classroom, right? Experiencers are being given the opportunity to come out and give you experiential knowledge. That's a little bit of authority. Your teachers have authority, so do experiencers, because they're giving you a truth that they've actually lived through and, got something from it. They learned from it. ETs don't come here and tell us nothing. Every experiencer has an opportunity to learn something from ET, every last one of them. And a lot of them remember it, and they'll come back and say, I learned this. I can do this. What a great way to teach humanity through experiencers. All of us learning. I don't think they want to talk to the government. I know they don't want to talk to the government because they don't learn. All they want is gimme, 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 and we're paranoid. And how do we kill you? You know, that's all they're trying to figure out. It's crazy to me. So yeah, we're talking to one another. We're giving each other information. We're giving you information. An experiencer is literally a teacher of the truth.
Yeah, without experiencers, we wouldn't have disclosure because we're not getting it from the government.
That is true.
Experiences are the disclosure.
I would agree with that. Let's go to another one.
Okay.
Why have we not seen successful recovery operations of alien bodies by their own, like a rescue operation to recover them or their craft?
Because if an ET craft can be recovered by ET, they do it immediately. If it can't be, the people on board are gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's not as successful. It's just, you know, what do we say when we're trying to recover people who've been in devastation? It's gone from a recovery to a, what's the word, Preston? I can't think the English word for it. I'm driving myself.
From a rescue to a search. I'm not sure what you're.
In other words, we're not picking up live people. We're picking up dead people.
Yeah,
in other words,
that's a recovery. From a rescue to a recovery.
Oh, okay. I see. I think of recovery as they're alive and we're going to have a conversation with them. It's just not going to happen. When an ET crashes, it's devastating. It is catastrophic because of the nature of the craft and how hard they hit and what happens to them when they do hit. I mean, try to go think about this. You're coming in at, Mach 2 and you're going to hit the planet. You think you're going to survive that? No, you're not. Okay. It's like an asteroid. What does it leave? It leaves a rut that's like a quarter of a mile down into the earth for 20 miles straight. That's what happens to them. They're physical like we are. They have bodies like we are. They can't take that kind of stress from hitting the earth at that speed in our gravity. They can't. They die.
Yeah. There are countless cases of mysterious aircraft coming down, and they send up the search parties, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, well,
over and over and over again.
Yeah,
these are.
Yeah.
There was a case in South America. A Dr. Botta, B-O-T-T-A, came upon a crashed UFO, ET bodies, the whole deal. He drove off to get his friends, came back. There was nothing but a pile of ash there. There were UFOs in the sky, and they caught them on photographs. You can see these photographs. So it does happen. I think it's pretty rare that it's seen. But absolutely, I think we've got some evidence that they have successfully recovered.
Their own people, yeah.
All right, let's go to another question here. Let's go to the Doug Shelby. Why the secrecy then? Why not reveal themselves and tell us what we need to know and screw the government?
Because we still want, you have to stop thinking that ET's going to come and hand you the keys to the kingdom on a silver platter. It's not going to happen. If you want to know the truth, you have to educate yourself to learn the truth. That's not an easy concept, so I'll give it to you this way. It took you a couple of years of your life to learn how to speak and to learn the alphabet and learn how to read and write. It also took you a couple of years to learn the rules, how to live here or survive here. Okay. It took you even more to become an expert at something and make enough money to survive. We are literally in the dinosaur age compared to them. They have no way of giving us that information at the level that we're at now. We're still trying to come out of this soup here, and they have to let us do it because it's up to us. We live here. It's our job to take care of ourselves and teach ourselves to awaken ourselves up with enough knowledge and wisdom to reach their level to where we can have a communication with one another on some sort of even standing. Okay. If mommy keeps picking baby up off the floor and dusting them off all the way into their 20s, they're not going to be adults. They're not going to teach themselves what they need to do. We play as children, and as adults, we figure it out and we go on from there and teach more children. See what I'm saying? We just have to realize that we have a lot to do before we can have that conversation with them. And they will not approach us for that reason.
Contactees have asked that exact question. They say you need to learn how to elect leaders that will tell you the truth. You need to overcome greed and corruption, war and aggression, pollution, destruction of the environment, the hatred and divisiveness. We're not ready. And frankly, they have done it. They flew over the Capitol. And what happened? We chased after them. We tried to shoot them down. They were not getting a good reception. And yet they keep doing waves over every 5 years or so over some small town or even a major city where it's undeniable. So they have done this. They have revealed themselves, but they're not going to come down and cause a huge upset into society. We're never going to have open and official disclosure until we have, or open official contact, until we stop killing each other, until we have peace on earth.
I think it's a very hard consciousness understanding for us to try and break through on that. Because if they were as malevolent and not caring as they are, they would have done that already. Because they wouldn't care. Right? It makes me want.
I'll give you, for instance, okay, there's some experiences, and I'm one of them, who have grown up in their society and understand how their society works. I've also been taught technology and things like that. And I have an understanding of how to teach, how to get to that educationally as well. Okay, for us, how to give you information so that you want to learn to learn. Okay, that's the whole point. Societies can't evolve, and evolve is the correct word here, until we learn how to teach ourselves how to learn and want it on a daily basis, period. It's the only way to evolve. We're at a level right now of evolution that's really not good. And so they've contacted people who can learn enough from them to spread it forward, okay? To like encourage y'all to listen to what we're saying and take it to heart and think about what that entails and then walk into it. We do have one problem, though, and y'all are saying it without realizing that you're saying it. We live in a society that does everything in its power to stop you, misguide you, drive you nuts, threaten you, make you angry, make you afraid. And the number one thing you can do, number one, this is E.T.'s absolute advice, you need to shut off sucking at the teat of hate, of listening to people gossip, of all of that stuff. Turn off the TV, literally turn it off. Start reading books, educate yourself. Stop listening to government BS. Stop listening to hate. Learn to love one another. Do what it takes for yourself to evolve. If everybody started evolving on their own, each of us individually, all over this planet, there would be a boom you wouldn't believe of wisdom going on. We would stop all the nonsense. You have to open your mind to what that is, but we have to give up wanting everything all the time. We have to give up wanting to have it easy. We have to give up wanting somebody to do for us all the time. You know, you want to know the definition of slavery? Back in the old days, they had a whip and they encouraged you to do what they wanted because they beat the hell out of you to get you to do it. You were true slaves. Now slavery has totally changed. They learn they don't need to use the whip. They use stuff and money to control you. And they put rules on top of it. That's the whip. That's the control. Think about it. Wouldn't you like to be free in your mental abilities and do what you want to do and think what you want to think and learn what you want to learn and go from there? You don't have to be like everybody else. Just be yourself and learn. That's what they want you to do.
We got 45 seconds. I want to get to Carrie's question. Preston, they say AI will soon hit singularity if it hasn't already done so. You think it will play a part in disclosure?
Yeah, but not a good one. I think that AI has a big danger of being abused because we weaponize everything. And I'm really concerned that that's what it's going to be used for.
Yeah. Thank you, Preston. Thank you, Dolly. We probably could have went another 2 to 3 hours on this subject because it is very, very important. And I want to encourage everybody to go over to Amazon or go to Preston's website and get all of his books. He's one of the top researchers in the UFO world, bringing experiencers' stories to life and it's well worth the read. Preston Dennett, Dolly, Safran, everybody. Coming up next in hour 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. We're going to follow that up with Terry Hall and the weird news of the week.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great job, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you very much.
It's always fun with you, Dave.
You're the
Take it
best.
easy.
Right,
Yes.
we got to get you back on with us real soon too. Okay.
Just let me know.
All right.
Love you guys. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Love you too. We're
Have a
going
good
to
night,
bed.
guys. Take care.
Stop now! You are under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, we got about a minute to go, and big party ups for Terry Hull and his gorgeous mustache joining us. Look at that lip blade. Beautiful.
How you doing, guys? How you doing?
How you doing, Terry?
Oh, boy, it's been one of them days, Dave. We've got, like you guys, we've got the wildfires going on.
Yeah.
But I've got a member of my family who's on oxygen. So we kind of bugged out here today from the house and went to the coast. But fortunately enough, the wind seems to be shifting. So
Good.
we've got more of an onshore flow, and it's kind of pushing it the other way.
Good.
I had to come back. Well, I had to come back to the house, which means I have to turn back around and drive another 2 hours back when we're done this evening.
Thank you tonight to our super chatters, T-Bone ×2, Erica, Vaughn, Deb, David, Caged, and Jeff. Here we go with hour 3. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We have Swamp Dweller and Terry Hull's Weird News of the Week coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to all of you and thank all of you for tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Palmarian. Palmarian is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. I have a close, trusted friend whose family is Native American and Canadian descent. I think they said it was Chi. I can't really remember, and it's too late to ask. His grandparents are full-blooded Native American and have passed down stories of skinwalkers and not deer. Not deer are deer that are just not quite right. Like you'll notice the pupil is square, or maybe they'll be a little too tall or a little too humanoid. My friend is not scared of anything other than these legends. He shares frequent experiences of not deer and skinwalker throughout his life. But here's the most recent one he has told me. He calls me and our group of friends from out of his grandma's house in the middle of nowhere in Midwest USA. He sounds extremely panicked, saying he tried to call us multiple times, but it wouldn't go through until now. I was driving down a dirt road by my grandmother's house, and I saw a deer in the road, right? I thought it was dead, but it wasn't. It was staring at me. Not in the deer in the headlights way either. It was just like looking at me like it didn't care, like it expected me to be there. Did you check on it? Maybe it was hurt. No, I didn't. I don't mess with stuff like that. I just went around it. But here's the spooky part. I'm going to cry, man. I'm so scared. It'll be okay, dude. Just tell us what happened. We'll stay on the phone with you. There were more of them. Probably like 30 of them, all laying down like they were dead, farther down the road, but they were all alive. I didn't see any gunshot marks or anything or any other reason that they'd be doing this. They didn't move or react to my car, even honking. Some popped their heads up and just looked at me, but they didn't move. I don't know, guys. I don't like this. And I couldn't get a signal. It was so dark. At this point, none of us really had any explanations and still don't. We were just pretty freaked out as well and thought it was really weird and stayed on the phone with him until he got back to the city we all lived in. He didn't end up continuing down the path. He pulled around and went in another direction. But I'm not entirely sure what to make of this experience.
Thank you, Swampy, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. We got thousands of stories for you each and every night right on his channel. Go hit it. You'll like it. From the swamp to the newsrooms of the world, Terry Hall is here for the weird news of the week.
Terry Hall's got a mustache, standing proud and bold. Curled up like a question mark, got secrets to be told. When you folks and Bigfoot tracks goes to won't behave, he's going to the headlines like a classy wave. Creatures of the week, yes, strange, yes, wild. For the answers of the enemy to the unexplained fall. But Terry Hall is born, this is the stack in the sprawl. On Space Out Radio, legendary stars, does it all.
Terry Hall, it's always great to have you back on the show. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How's the beard of knowledge this evening?
Not bad as the lip blade of power that you have, my friend. And, you know, you're down in Oregon. I'm here in British Columbia. We're both battling the forest fire smoke that seems to be encapsulating the West Coast right now. And my goodness.
You know, we don't have so many fires on the eastern side of the state here. There a lot of them are in the central part of the state, but we do have one fairly large one here by Mount Hood. But where I live, the smoke is getting funneled through the Columbia River Gorge. And when it comes out of the gorge, it goes right into Portland and then turns south and comes down our way.
My goodness.
So that's where, I mean, we're just like in the chute. We're at the end of the chimney, you know what I mean? And I'm sorry, that's when my voice sounds a little, you know?
Well, you know what? We are in a real push for some weird news tonight, my friend. I want to kick things off with you with this one.
Go for it.
This is a beauty from the United Kingdom, man. Now, if there is ever a man that is cranky, it's this guy. A man who admitted using motor oil and detergent to kill his neighbor's fish after being driven completely insane by the noise of a water pump in the pond has now been sentenced. 76-year-old Jerry Duffy of North London pleaded guilty on the day of his trial to 3 counts of damaging property and 1 count of unlawfully destroying fish in March. The court heard Duffy climbed into Andreas Potide's garden to break the water pump out of sheer frustration and lack of sleep. Having warned his neighbors he would take matters into his own hands. Duffy was given a 2-year conditional discharge in order to pay £565 in compensation to his neighbor. Duffy, who worked as a builder before his retirement, lives in a studio flat which backs onto the garden owned by his neighbor, the court heard. And the prosecuting attorney, Shahid Iftaki, said the neighbor's dispute between Duffy and Potides potentially caused a lot of damage. He said the defendant has previously complained to the complainant about noise coming from his garden, and he said his words to the effect of, "If you didn't deal with it, I would." There was a warning before the incident. So in mitigation, Elliot Stern told the court his client tried to deal with the dispute without resorting to killing the fish. Mr. Stern said the man had been driven completely insane by this noise. He's spoken to the complainant several times. They initially said they would stop the water pump going on, but then turned around and said, that's not good for the fish. An environmental officer came to the house and told Duffy he either had to move or close his window, the court heard. Out of sheer frustration and lack of sleep, Mr. Duffy, out of character, I would say, lost his mind and committed various damages, killing fish because of the pump noise. That's where we kick it off.
Isn't it odd, Dave, how humans can say, like, the sound of someone eating to some people, high-pitched noises to others, the sound of running water, apparently, one noise that you hear constantly can just, why is it that we let it crank us up and crank us up and crank us up until the point to where the rubber band snaps and we do something stupid? Why are we programmed that way? It doesn't make sense. But everybody has either a sound, a smell, a noise that just, makes your teeth hurt. It's like chewing on aluminum foil or something. But why do we do that as a species? Again, Dave, maybe that's why we need an alien intervention. Because if you got to pay your neighbor, okay, 565 pounds, British pounds sterling, is about $750, $760 American. That's a pretty good sized water pump, my friend. That's a pretty good sized water pump.
Either way.
I tell you what, you've heard all of these stories of people from other countries coming to the United States for the soccer thing, and not so much for the football. But what I'm talking about is how they comment and what they're commenting about, what really kind of they weren't expecting when they came to the United States. Well, we've heard about the food. We've heard about how nice people are. We've heard about the roads, and we've heard about garbage disposals over and over again. I'm going to tell you a story about a tough dude, man.
Okay.
Okay. The story's titled Not Great, Bob. David Cifaldi, 32 years old, fit fella, was hiking Granite Mountain in Montana when he tripped over a rock and impaled himself on one of his hiking poles. He managed to hike 10 miles back with a pole through his side. Cifaldi is an ER nurse. He addressed his wounds and determined that because there was no blood and that he could take deep breaths, he was in good enough shape to get himself to safety. One friend radioed ahead for help and walked ahead to warn other hikers, especially those with children, about the gnarly sight of his friend. The other friend walked behind him to watch for further signs of injury. The trek took about 6 hours, six and a half hours, and Cifaldi was in good enough spirits to joke around with his friends. They started making shish kebab jokes, Dave. They started making shish kebab jokes. Cifaldi said, by the end, they were calling me Bob. And on the way out, he was cared for in Billings at the very hospital where he works. Doctors there successfully removed the pole, but an additional surgery could still be in Cifaldi's future. Cifaldi stated, I'm not an amateur hiker, he said, adding that this was just a freak accident.
Man, that would suck. That would really, really suck. But at least he didn't lose consciousness or go into shock. He was able to rescue himself.
That, and, at least he wasn't hiking in a canyon and a rock fell on his arm and he had to chop his own arm off and then get to safety, like we've heard tell stories of tough Americans before. So now not only do we have the food, garbage disposals, and ceiling fans, and air conditioning. Maybe that's why the guy in England wouldn't shut his window. Apparently, they don't believe in air conditioning over on the other side of the pond, Dave. So maybe if he closed his window so he couldn't hear that water pump running all the time, He may have died from heat exhaustion. That could have been a good countersuit in court. You know,
Okay.
those guys could have sued each other from now until Hades comes over stupid stuff like that, man. So do you got another one for us? Do you want me to
dude,
continue?
I got a real beauty here. I am loaded for bear tonight on
awesome
weird news.
Let's get after it.
You know the old saying from the cranky curmudgeon, get off my lawn. You know that saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just get off my lawn. Well, this takes the cake and takes this to a whole new level. We're going to go over to Wyoming, Minnesota, where a Minnesota man now faces a court date next month for allegedly setting up a homemade spike strip in his yard last spring in an attempt to keep his neighborhood children off his lawn. 39-year-old Kyle James Steffen is charged with one gross misdemeanor count of setting a spring gun pitfall, deadfall, or snare, which carries a potential maximum sentence of 180 days in prison or a $1,000 fine. According to the complaint filed in court, one of Steffen's neighbors in Wyoming called police in late April to report that Steffen was yelling at her children to stay off his yard. When officers arrived, they saw a long piece of thick plastic set in the lawn with about 40 3-inch screws sticking up from the plastic. Officers noticed bike tire tracks in the yard and said it appeared neighborhood children would ride through his yard as a shortcut into a nearby park. The complaint states that officers spoke to Steffen, who admitted placing the device to keep kids off his lawn, and that he had previously yelled at the kids many times, but they still rode through his yard out of spite. Steffen also allegedly told officers he did not mean to injure anyone, only to scare them. But the complaint noted that he seemed frustrated that the device was not effective in keeping the kids off his lawn. He's scheduled for his first court appearance on the 25th of this month. Now, I don't know whether to feel sorry for this guy or to feel sorry for the kids in the neighborhood. But I mean, it does show in one aspect that the guy was completely frustrated. He probably asked them many times to stay off of his lawn, and they wouldn't. So he decided to do something about it. And there's a lot of people out there, Terry, who take their lawns very seriously.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's funny about having a lawn, Dave, was grass is so useless. You used to use all the land for agriculture. Where grass became popular is for the wealthy. So they could show that they had land that they could just put grass on and they did not have to use to provide for their families. Right? Well, hey, Dave, you know what? At least the guy wasn't stringing piano wire at chest height. Got to do that. But you know what? You living where you live and you doing what you do, I've heard of these things that people put out by cabins where they take, say, a piece of plywood and they run a bunch of screws through it and they place it by their entryways and under windows to keep bears out of the, say, bears and other wild animals out and Bigfoot's away. Is that true? Have you ever seen those before?
I've heard of them. I've never seen it.
Where that story throws me off is if a kid's riding through that yard and they've got bare feet, their tire gets popped, it stops their bike, they put their foot down. Man, getting a screw out of your foot's not like pulling a splinter out.
True.
That's so, I can understand where there would be penalties and consequences for it, but it's unfortunate that the old gentleman had to resort to something like that. But applause for creativity. Applause for creativity. That's for sure. You know what, Dave? Since I told you one story about somebody getting poked with something odd, I think I'm going to tell you another one. This one's...
Oh, the dogs are barking. The dogs are barking. All right, Terry, you hold on right there because I know you have your son coming over to make sure everything is A-okay at your place with the fires going on and the smoke going on around you. So I will just continue on here for a minute. Here's one. Now, call this creative or call this just absolutely ignorant. It's up to you. In New Jersey, people are looking to spot any odd-looking shrubs while driving in the states on Wednesday. If you didn't see them, well, you probably might have been on your phone. The Dunellen Police Department has decided to dress up its officers as shrubs to catch distracted drivers in the act. Shrubs. Officers place themselves on North Washington Avenue, a highly trafficked pedestrian-heavy downtown area. At this location, officers issued 74 citations to drivers that were distracted by their devices within a 6-hour period. It was an effective effort to enforce New Jersey's handheld cell phone law. Now officers are reminding drivers to keep their eyes on the road. They're literally wearing ghillie suits, tucking themselves into trees, and then watching for drivers with binoculars. I don't know if that's creative, kind of awesome, or if it is something that is just a little weird. What do you think, Terry?
I think it's a little weird myself, but hey, to each their own, you know what I mean? You know what, Dave, speaking of to each their own, they've got another, okay, you guys always know that I've always got a Florida story loaded up, right? Florida man, Florida woman. Why don't we do a Florida restaurant this time? Oh, hold on. I got to pull that one back up. I had it loaded and I lost it, but I'll bring it right back. Okay. So the reason that this one came up, because I want to kind of ask you and everyone else that's in the audience if you would actually go to a restaurant where you could be served nude. Not the servers serving you nude, you being able to dine in the nude. So the story comes from St. Pete, Florida. And when I was a kid, St. Petersburg, I used to go spend my summers there with my godfather. It was an old, sleepy retirement town. However, it's not that way anymore. It's been gentrified. So they have got this restaurant down in St. Pete that on Monday nights, between the hours of 6 p.m. and midnight, you could arrange to dine in the nude. So, would that kind of turn you off of your appetite, Dave, to be able to dine in the nude? Or do you think that's something that you would actually try to go attend with a loved one?
I don't know. I mean, Lord knows, I don't have a good body for public consumption. I really don't. But on the flip side, my curiosity might get me. I hope it's a little bit warmer in there, probably running around 72, 73 degrees.
Okay, well, let's see. No, it's cold in there, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Maybe the menu would make a difference. So a Florida chop house is now offering diners the opportunity to have a meal completely in the nude. CLASS Soiree Steakhouse in the city of Hollywood, Florida, will be offering au jus natural gastronomic experience on the first Monday of every month. Chef Marid Ali told the USA Today network that he got the special idea for a stripped-down dinner after a nudist group rented out the restaurant and ate their meal in the buff. Can you imagine having to wipe the seats down after they left? Ew. Everyone has New York strip. Everyone has ribeye. Everyone has cool dishes. We have to be different, the restaurant's owner of 8 years said after starting that the distro dining experience. He started a disrobing dining experience in July. The prefix meals include appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, a surf and turf dinner, and a champagne toast for the 20 feasters in their birthday suits. So it's not you dining.
Hold that thought. We're going to finish this story about new dining in Florida when we return with the weird news of the week.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear.
Not only are we dealing with the smoke, but and I've got fiber optic internet. I mean, crazy good internet. My internet connection keeps blipping.
And
Yeah.
my
When
signal's
there's
been-
smoke, there's fire. I don't know.
That is a true statement, just so you know.
Amen to that. Amen to that. The smoke's kind of got me a little raspy. The sheriffs were actually going around because we have a small community here, and they were actually passing out protective gear, masks, and so forth. Kind of cool. But now, when you hear how much this actually costs and the lack of privacy with this whole steakhouse thing, I told you the other day, Dave, they need Jesus, man. They need Jesus.
Oh, man. I can still taste the forest fire smoke.
They need Jesus thing. I was on a real rant the other day. David just barely started an interview on the air. And it was a salty rant, a funny, salty rant. And I sent it to Dave. And guys, I almost got him, man. I almost got him.
Oh, God.
I try so hard to get Dave to crack when he's doing stuff, right? One of these days I'm going to get him, but it's the attempt that's so much fun.
Oh, my friend, you are just a pain in my ass. You know that? You. Oh, my God, I love you.
And he did send me a message. Will you quit? I'm on air. I'm like, I know. That's why I'm doing it.
Oh, man. That was hilarious.
I will say
absolutely hilarious.
You know, honestly, this whole thing's kind of freaking me out the more and more I'm really looking at it. And I'm thinking, they got maybe even, it's got to be an upscale restaurant. Maybe they got these nice wood seats. Nope, they're cloth seats, cloth covered seats with naked butt sitting on them. Yeah. I hope they put a towel down or something, man.
Let's see here. We got about 2 minutes to go here.
Hey, what did you think about Bigelow briefing Trump?
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
That's weird news, man. Something I never thought I'd
Well, and the fact that, after that interview, we all found out today that Robert Bigelow is now going to have a podcast talking.
I don't believe I've ever, I almost broke my finger hitting subscribe to Bob Bigelow's podcast. And I mean, the interview that he did with George Knapp was wow. And listening to that interview, I think that he did give our president very sage and sound advice on how to proceed. I think so. Told him to get told him that the same thing that most good people do when they're in a situation like this. They surround themselves with people that are a lot smarter than them to help guide them through it. And I hope that's what happens here.
To my man. Me too.
But now
Thank you tonight. 1 second here, Terry. Thank you to T-Bone for the hat trick of super chats tonight. Thank you to Vaughn. Thank you to Cage. Thank you to Jeff Steve Garvey with the home run chat. David, Deborah Rooney, and Erica. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And we're coming back in about 20 seconds here. 20 seconds.
One of the people in the comments, James.
1 second. We're coming back in 5 seconds, Terry.
Hitchhikers are bad, James.
Let's kick off the last half hour of tonight's show. It's the Weird News of the Week, Terry Hall. Right before the break, Terry, you were talking about literally a naked restaurant in Florida.
Nude dining in Florida. It's a surf and turf, nice steak joint. Looking at all the photographs of this place, it's a higher end place. Dave, when the diners disrobe, the meals are pre-planned, as we were talking about earlier. You know, it's a surf and turf meal. You get champagne toast at the end. Everyone has ribeyes and so forth like that. The unclad eaters will have to dish out $250 if they're a man, $150 if they're a woman, or $300 if they're a couple to eat in the buff. Officials in the city of Hollywood, Florida, said that dining experience is legal. So, I mean, looking at this place, all the crystal, all the cloth napkins, all the pretty plates. They've got cloth seats, Dave. Cloth seats.
Oh.
Naked butts sitting on cloth seats that you're paying $250 if you're a man. So we've got, okay, the feminists should just be up in arms about this because they're not charging the same price for both genders. Men have to pay more. Women get to pay less. Apparently they don't have a bouncer at the door saying, okay, you're too ugly to come in. So you can jump into anything there. And these dining rooms, they're not private. You're sitting in a group of 20 people because they're letting 20 people do this on Monday, on this first Monday. So you're sitting in a group of 20 with 18, if you're a couple, 18 other people in the buff. I hope the steak's good. That's all I got to say. I hope the steak's good because you never know. Just like dining in this restaurant where they always say, Dave, you can't pick your neighbors and you can't pick your relatives. Well, you can't pick if there's going to be a fat couple sitting next to you grinding on a piece of gristle off a New York cut or something. Ugh, on a cloth seat. On a cloth seat, Dave. I don't think I would choose to dine there myself.
Cloth seats. And imagine if someone all of a sudden had some intestinal issues.
Intestinal issues? Dude, come on, man. Skid marks. Just general skid marks, man.
I was trying to be polite with it, man.
Or let's say that, instead of it being a silent deadly, it's one of those other kind.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. We're not going to.
Yeah.
Go there. All right. I got one here for you. Here's a stupid one. One missing underscore in a Skyrim themed username has put an innocent Nova Scotia man in prison for 18 months. A 2018 child luring investigation, which began in Madison, Wisconsin, and eventually extended to Halifax, Nova Scotia, was based on a false premise. Police were looking for a man using the Kik messaging service under the name Fuss_Row_Da. But 2 underscores after Fuss, but they accidentally requested records for the username Fuss_Row_Da, 1 underscore only after Fuss. This 1 character difference led them not only to the perpetrator, but to a Canadian man named Brandon Claim. Yeah. So, as readers may recognize, Fuss_Row_Da is the unrelenting force dragon shout from the Elder Scrolls versus Skyrim. All right. Now, despite finding no evidence of the crime on his digital devices, Canadian police arrested Claim in 2020 on child endangerment charges. He was convicted after a 2023 trial and sentenced in 2024 to 18 months. He served the full term. Even after release, Claim continued to fight his conviction. In the process of preparing his appeal, the username mistake that led to all these years of disruption was finally discovered. On Thursday, the Nova Scotia Court of Appeal overturned Claim's conviction, writing, "Mr. Claim is factually innocent of these offenses. He should have never been charged, let alone convicted." The case began in 2018. From August through December of that year, a 12-year-old Wisconsin girl communicated with an adult male through the Kik messaging service. We know how disgusting those things can be. During a check of the girl's phone, her mother found an inappropriate photo of the male, called police, and this is how it all began with the username. To identify the person, the cops contacted Kik, but their subpoena accidentally requested information about the wrong Fuss_Row_Da. Kik provided Claim's email address in response. Google records showed that his email address was used to access Google services from an IP address in Canada, and this is how they tracked him down. And now in the appeal, let's just say that let's hope that this gentleman gets a lot of money for 18 months of a faux pas.
They convicted the guy on a typo?
Yes.
That's
because the innocent man used 2 underscores rather than just 1 underscore.
Hey, I got a way that could have saved him 18 months, right? If they had a picture of the dude's junk, all he had to do was drop his pants to prove that he was innocent, right? If it's not your junk, it's not your junk. I don't know if they're as distinct as a fingerprint, but it would have been worth a shot. If they were going to throw me in a can for 18 months, that judge would have seen a little bit more of me than he would have wanted to. I promise you that much.
I wonder if that was put into evidence. What do you got for us, Tara?
Well, let's go from a mistake that hopefully gets corrected to something that's going to tear at your heart a little bit. This is about a message in a bottle. A 53-year-old message in a bottle has finally made its way home. John Cowderman of New Jersey was doing his regular cleanup in the wetlands in the Upper Township when he came up across the artifact. Inside was a note written by Lori Blair, who would have been 9 years old when she dictated it to her older sister, who had nicer handwriting. The note contains a tall tale about a ruthless sponge fisherman and diving in shark-infested waters, which Dave would have never gone in that water with sharks. Coutman took to social media to see if he could find Lori. Her sister Allie Spencer now, saw the post and reported that unfortunately Lori had passed away from cancer in 2019. Cowderman sent the letter to Spencer, the sister, who plans to frame it. Lori was very confident at the time that we wrote it that it was going to be found, so I think that she would say, "I told you so."
It's kind of cool.
That one's pretty cool, man. The message in the bottle made its way back home.
Love it.
Yeah.
A greyhound. Here's one for you. A greyhound named Khan sniffs us at a spread of tarot cards at a fortune-telling shop in South Korea. before placing a paw on one. Across the table, his owner, An Hee Yu, waits anxiously to learn the meaning of the card, which depicts a dog chasing its owner. Wang Su Kyung, a tarot card reader who runs the Ace Sophia fortune-telling parlor in the city's upmarket Gangnam district, said the image indicated anxiety related to the 5 puppies fathered by the pedigree animal. These feelings Khan experienced are something vets or dog trainers do not know, since it does not manifest as a major issue to them, says his owner, An, whose eyes lit up as she listened. A growing niche offering fortune-telling shops, pet tarot cards. Yeah, tarot cards for pets. Is driven by a surge in pet ownership as fewer South Koreans choose to have children, deterred by costly housing and education. Government surveys show 29.2% of homes in South Korea, which has the world's lowest birth rate, were raising pets in 2026, up from 17.4% just a decade earlier. Wang, who opened her shop in 2014, said demand for pet tarot has grown as owners increasingly view the animals as family or sometimes a sole domestic companion. So the big question is, Terry, you've got a couple of dogs. Would you take them to a pet tarot to see how they're doing?
Dave, you know how I feel about the paranormal, Ouija boards, tarot cards, anything that has to do with any kind of that woo. Do you honestly think I would take any of my dogs to do so? I wouldn't take myself to do something like that. Not at all. I'd be too, what are they going to tell you about your dog? Right? Your dog's here. It loves you. Give it some food. It's your best friend. What are they going to tell you the day it's going to die? Why would you want to know that? I mean, if you're a good pet owner, you know what's in your dog's future because you're the one that gives it to them. So, I mean, hey, you make a buck doing it. People are, Dave, this reminds me of when they did those phone-in psychic hotlines. You remember those way
Yes, I
back
remember
when?
those.
And how many people you heard of that had $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 phone bills calling psychics? I knew a guy who was like that. He was off his rocker. He was on the phone with those. I mean, the guy had a $3,500 phone bill. So, look, if you can make a market, there's going to be patrons for said market. So I applaud the creativity and the effort once again. So,
what else you got for us, Terry?
Okay. This is a Florida man story. Are you ready to go?
I love it. I'm loving it already.
Palm Coast resident James Spader was caught on camera allegedly tossing a fake urine device with an attached prosthetic penis on the floor of a deputy's patrol car during a traffic stop. Apparently, Mr. Shepard was on the way to his parole officer to do his urinalysis for the week and was pulled over speeding. As it turns out, Mr. Shepard also is a victim of I didn't do it and I didn't know that my driver's license was suspended. And when they placed him into the car, Mr. Shepard kind of let this big bag of pee go on the back of on the floor of the car, along with the prosthetic penis that goes along with it. When the officer came back, Mr. Shepard exclaimed to the officer that it was in here when you put me in here. It was already in here when you put me in here, which to the officer responded, "Sir, I clean this car out after every person I take out of the back of it, and I'm sure I would have seen a large bag of urine and starts with a D and ends with an O. lying on the floor of my car. So the guy's going to his PO with the fake pee, which he probably got a niece or nephew to pee into a bag for him, because that's probably the only people that he knows who doesn't do drugs, if you as you can well imagine. But yeah, they sell these kits apparently, Dave, that it's a prosthetic penis, and you can get it in any shade, shape, or form. Apparently, I don't know which one this gentleman picked out, but apparently it wasn't too slim to hide if you were going to jail. But yeah, he was going in to do a UA at his parole office. Got pulled over and was arrested once again for driving on a suspended license, driving without insurance, driving an unregistered vehicle. I don't know what they're going to do about the urine and the prosthesis per se, but boy, that one takes the cake for me.
That one definitely takes the cake. All right, let's move on here. You know, one thing I've never been able to accomplish in my life? I've never been able to accomplish solving the Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
But there's now a new record, because I didn't know this, but speed cubing is a sport.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
1,000%. Yeah.
So, champion speed cuber has reclaimed a Guinness World Record title by solving the Rubik's Cube in guess how long? While blindfolded, by the way.
Blindfolded, I'm going to say 7 seconds.
A little bit higher, 11.56 seconds. It took him to solve the Rubik's Cube while wearing a blindfold. 21-year-old Tommy Cherry retook his title for the fastest time to solve a 3x3x3 rotating puzzle cube while blindfolded, when he completed the task in just under 12 seconds at the Mid-Atlantic Quiet Championships this year in New Jersey. Yeah. His first set the record of 15.27 seconds in 2021, has broken the record almost every year since. The most recent record of 11.67 seconds was set by Australian Charlie Higgins at the cubing event in Sydney, Australia. These guys are battling hard. I've tried working a Rubik's Cube since it came into this world. I still have not solved it. I've even tried cheat codes in order to solve it by watching some of these YouTube videos, and I still can't do it. I've given up.
I've got the ultimate cheat code. You want to know what it is?
Sure.
What you do is you take your Rubik's Cube, your 3x3, you turn the top until it's, you got little point that the corner's sticking out over the edge. Grab one of those corner, give it a twist. It'll pop out. You can disassemble a cube, reassemble it, and make it line up perfect. But now to prepare those cubes for competition, it's very interesting to watch him do it. They came up with this lubricant, like a white lithium powder that they put all over the cube to make them so that they can spin them fast. But it's not only the world records for 3x3s, they do the 4x4s and 5x. I mean, they have Rubik's cubes that are actually massive now, and there's a record for each one of them. So let's go from a Rubik's cube. I think I can wrap this one up tonight for us, Dave, at least on my end, with a pain in the neck.
Okay.
A circus performer is recovering after his wife and fellow performer accidentally shot him in the neck with an arrow from a crossbow during a show.
Ouch.
Anna Daza Tavera. Now, there's a carny name for you, if I ever heard one, a circus name. 42, and Edward Cuervo Rango, 38, were doing their regular sharpshooting act at a country fair in Middletown, New York, when the accident occurred. The circus was canceled for the night, and Cuervo Rango was airlifted to a hospital where the arrow was removed and the wound site stitched up. Ringmaster Benjamin Jackson said there was no blood leaking out. There was just a little hole, a little around the hole where the arrow went in, kind of like getting your ear pierced, he said. The circus resumed its regular schedule, but the sharpshooting act is on hold while Cuervo Rango makes a full recovery.
Oh my God.
That's trust in your marriage. Do you talk about trust in a marriage, man?
Yep.
That's trust because it's his wife who's shooting at him. It's not the other way around. Generally, in a sharpshooting act, the lady's the one on the board getting spun around. For this one, it's just the opposite. She's the one pulling the trigger.
My final one with 90 seconds to go. Here's a company you never want to work for. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei apparently can't believe that not everyone at his company is as noble-minded as he is. According to a report from Axios, which cites a source familiar with the matter, Amodei is concerned that the new hires at the $965 billion AI firm are joining for the money instead of its greater vision. Shocking, right? Anthropic pays some of the best salaries in the business. And now Amodei fears it's become a victim of its own success. Being the most valuable AI firm in the world sure sounds tough, but it's also a sentiment tinged with irony. Anthropic's professed mission is to safely build advanced AI systems. When Amodei left OpenAI to pursue this goal, part of his gripe with his older company was that it was getting too commercialized by partnering with Microsoft. And now with this company in public, anticipated to hit $1 trillion IPO that would rake in untold billions of dollars for the company, and but ensure its lofty moral duty would be forever subjugated the money-making whims of Wall Street. So he's concerned that maybe his employees are there for the money and not just because they want a job.
You know, that's the biggest mistake of business owners is when you hire an employee, you expect them to be every bit as diligent and work just as hard as you, the business owner. I've seen business owners cast aspersions over things like that. So, yeah, I'm there for the money. I'm not there for a vision.
You got that right. It's all about the Benjamins, my friend. It's all about the Benjamins. Terry Hall and the great weird news of the week. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week as we say goodnight to Terry and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat room tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyrighted Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
Don't make a mistake. We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Terry Hall.
Appreciate you being patient. Sorry for the interruption, guys. It's just been one of those kind of days, you know?
Absolutely.
One of those kind of days. But you know what? If we didn't have kind of rough days, we wouldn't know when we had good ones, right?
Yeah, I agree.
If every day was a good day, life would be mundane.
You are the man for that, Terry Hall. You the man. You the man.
I will say this. I found a very, very cool seashell down at the beach today.
Well, that's kinda cool.
It's like it's a real nautilus. It's beautiful.
That's nice.
You know,
That's
when
very
we were kids, we used to like to go to the beach and go seashell hunting, right? And somehow or another, we always found the dopest, coolest seashells. Almost looked like they came out of a store, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as it turned out, they did. Because my dad would go buy these really dope seashells, and he'd get up really early in the morning and go put them out on the beach. So when he took his kids down to go seashell hunting, they'd always have something they could find.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. That's good fathering right there. Terry Hall, we got to get ready to go on WABC in New York, my man.
I am exiting stage left and heading back to the coast. So, guys, thanks again for having me. Dave, I love you, man, and I will see you all next week.
All right. Don't forget to give your mustache a special tug for all of us. And we will see you next week. Tomorrow night on the show, Dale Boswell will join us. What it's like living alongside Bigfoot. Yeah, it's going to be a great show tomorrow night. Thank you to T-Bone with a hat trick, Erica Vaughn, Deborah Rooney, David Caged, and Jeff Steve Garvey, who will always hit a home run for you. And thank you. Give us a thumbs up if you have it. It helps with our algorithms. And leave a comment after the show. And you know what's also free for you guys? Tell a friend to help us grow. We'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow, guys. Good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.